Hey everybody, welcome to Superhero with a Cane, podcast 13, Lucky 13. Once again, we're up early, and my son is doing this before work. So, um, this morning, I want to talk about something that used to be pretty uh, easy for me. It was a given. Um, these days, it changes. So, and that's the topic of goal setting and goal setting with MS. Um, those are two very different things. I believe it's funny because a million years ago, it feels like when I was doing had my career going and was successful in sales, and I was also coaching. And one of the things I did was a goal setting seminar. And it's just funny because, I'm in my late 30s, 40, pushing 40 roughly, and obviously your life is much different then than it is now. I have very different um, ways of approaching things, especially for us that we try to remember our life before MS, and which is a different life. So it's funny because the system I used to use that I would teach was the acronym is smarter goal setting system. And what smarter stands for is when you're setting your goals, you have to be specific, they have to be measurable, they have to be achievable, they have to be realistic, they have to be time sensitive, uh, enjoyable, ethical, exciting, and then R is for resources. And I'm going to get into each one of those in a second, because I think that for the right person at the right time, it's very effective. And that's what I used to use when I was trying to accomplish different goals. And but the funny thing is, when you look up MS and goal setting, um, there's not a lot there. Um, and but the biggest thing I took away from, I say, I researched, Googled, whatever you want to call it, Googled. Uh, it talks about, getting into the individuality of MS and how everybody's MS is so different. From the type you have to the MS symptoms, where you're at in life, when you get it and what you're going to do. And so I'm going to talk about the smarter goal setting system, and then I'll probably go back and forth between that and what it's like living with MS now, and how my approach personally has changed, and I believe many people's approach will change. Coffee. So um, the S in smarter specific, pretty much talks about, you can't say, I'll use weight as an example. You can't just say, I'm going to lose weight. You have to come up with a certain amount. You say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, for example. Measurable, is that something that you can measure? Yeah, you get on the scale. If you decide it's every other day or once a week or whatever your thought process is, yeah, you can measure that. Achievable, it's for you. You have to, there's a bunch of other stuff that's going to go along with this that we'll get into. But is losing 25 pounds achievable for you? If you're, 120 pounds soaking wet, and you already work out crazy. Maybe it's 25 pounds isn't achievable. If you're if you have that much more weight to lose and you haven't really worked out in your life, then maybe 25 pounds is achievable. You know, it's up to you. And next one, all are realistic. I think those two kind of go together. Is it realistic for you to lose that weight? T, time sensitive. You want to put a deadline on it. So if you're going to say, you want to just say, I'm going to lose 25 pounds. You want to say, you know, I'm going to lose 25 pounds by September 1st, for example. You know, put a deadline on it. E, enjoyable, ethical, exciting. You know, you got to make sure that you're enjoying what you do, and it brings some type of excitement to you. And ethics. I'm always preaching ethics. If it's not ethical, then why should you do it? You know, we're talking about weight loss here, so I don't know what ethics has to do with that. But the R is for resources. What resources are you going to use to help you achieve your goal? So whether it's what is there a specific system that you have in place? Is it the way you're going to go about this? Are there other people that have done it? And I'm using weight. For me, years ago, it used to be I was in sales, so everything revolved around dollars. You know, it was setting goals for selling. You know, how much I was going to sell, how I was going to get there, how many leads I'd have to run, what my closing rate would have to be, what my average ticket would have to be. When I did that, there were business goals and there was personal goals. What was that going to do for my family? And if we back up and look at the big picture, what are we doing? What purpose does all this serve? And that purpose, when I was, I was talking to my son about this yesterday. In my early 20s, I don't even know that I had any goals. At least it wasn't, the approach wasn't this. I didn't have anything written down. I just knew that I wanted a better lifestyle than I had. I knew I wanted things that I didn't have, and to do that, you needed money. So I just ventured out and went after it. As you get older, it's funny because I was talking to my friend Bob about this yesterday, and we were saying that what we think we want in life, and it was so important, certainly changes, and it changes whether you're 30, 40, 50. Sometimes we're we're almost 60 and we're not even sure if what we've done we wanted to do. We're not even sure that what we're doing is what we want to do. So, and this approach, I use these examples because this is what I used to teach. For me at the time, in my approaching 40, made a lot of sense. I was trying to achieve certain things for my family. I wanted to make sure that my wife and my kids were taken care of, and that I provided for them for the future. And then, bam, we get hit with MS. So the approach had to change. I mentioned that when you look up MS and goal setting, there isn't much there. The only thing that it talks about focusing more on quality of life for yourself, setting smaller goals, Well, it's funny because I talk about, this smarter goal setting system, the acronym SMARTER. The only thing I can come up with MS is managing symptoms and much slower are the acronyms for MS. I realize it's not multiple sclerosis, but and that's what we end up doing. We end up managing our symptoms to make sure that we have a better quality of life. Some of the acronyms in the smarter goal setting system apply to MS today, I guess. I have to be very careful. I mean, with my cognitive issues and my fatigue and my lack of energy and I really can't push myself. How symptoms overlap. So, one of the things that I've realized is that the person that I've become doesn't allow me to be the person I used to be. And that person is inside and is fighting to come out at times. But I got to be careful. I mean, because I was always Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins, for example. Anything that had to do with motivation and achieving your goals and learning something new, I was on top of, and I put all my energy into it. And now my energy is pretty much kind of what I said about quality of life, like getting through a day. So routine, making sure I have the same routine every day, making sure that I'm cautious about what I take on, making sure I sleep every day. It's funny how your perspective changes as your disease changes, and I guess it's all your perspective changes as your life changes. Like I mentioned, when I was in my 20s, approaching 30, I had much different perspective on things, and when you're living without disease and you think you got the world, you're taking the world, you're storming the castle. You've got the bull by the horns. All those friggin' stupid things come into play. So anyway, I think that it's important that when you realize what kind of MS you have and you understand your symptoms and how they impact your day, then you could set goals. I don't know that you need to be as specific, or you can be as specific with the goal setting system that I originally talked about, the smarter goal setting system. I don't think you can be. I think for me, it's more about visualization and quality of life, and things that are going to impact my health and help my family and help me get through this. That's kind of what I'm about these days.